guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
And collectively, we're the three most dangerous office blokes for anybody. Westerners, Easterners, Middlers, Northerners, Southerners, all of them. Anyway, yeah, we are the Office Blokes, and we're looking for a new intro for our channel. Yeah, whatever you want to do. If you want to do a little animation, keep the same tune.
Yeah, keep the music. I like the music.
We do like the music, to be fair.
It's iconic now for us.
It is, actually. Some other YouTubers going to use that at some point and hopefully get abuse in the comment section. That's the Office Blokes tune.
Yeah, how dare you.
Keep the tune.
So email us officeblokesreact@gmail.com. We are looking forward to seeing all of your submissions. We will narrow it down. We'll have a poll. We'll get people to vote on it.
I'm going to enter.
Yeah?
Yep. I'm in the middle of doing all this online training for the Adobe products.
After Effects.
So I'm going to do the After Effects. So I'm going to go doing one myself.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice.
Look forward to seeing it. We'll have a poll, and then we'll have the final decision, and there will be a prize for the winner. So there you go, unless it's Daz, and then there's no prize.
I get a prize. Take Mike out for lunch. Totties.
Oh, what about me?
You just said he's not, unless it's Daz, he's not getting it. So I said, take Mike out.
There you go.
That's right. I take it back. There's a prize for whoever wins.
No. It's too late now.
Right then, the 10 most dangerous countries for Americans or Westerners.
This would be interesting. I'd like to see this.
Yeah, I think, is there going to be somewhere like Somalia on there, maybe?
I've told that story before. I was in Jordan one day and I thought I had time to kill, so I went to get my hair cut. And
what colour hair did she have at the time?
Yeah, exactly. And I went to have a beard trim in my haircut and all that. And just he was like, before I had a beard actually, so I was having like a shave, and he was waxing all the wax all around here. But as he put under there, I got the cutthroat, and as he pulled me, he sat me back and he lifted my head up sort of thing, and he put the razor to me throat and he went, "So, you American?" No. I was like, "No."
Dutch. In what country's probably not pissed off?
Hola.
From Jordan, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. This, I think, I'd imagine somewhere where government has possibly broken down, like Somalia or
A few in the Middle East, I would guess, maybe. Syria, yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
That's dangerous for every fucker to go, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even Syrians.
Let's find out then the 10 most dangerous countries for Americans or Westerners. Let's do it.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the World According to Briggs. Today is another international video.
World According to Briggs. We've done World According to Briggs before.
I was just thinking we've never reacted to this channel before.
We have.
We have.
A while back. Definitely.
Yeah.
Countries are more dangerous than Detroit or a lingerie party at my cousin's ex-wife's house. Yes, it's hard to believe. I know. She's had lingerie parties. In general, the world can be a dangerous place. You could be in danger no matter where your plane lands. The thing is, some countries excel in danger, and some even bump it up a notch depending on where you hail from. If you think everyone in the world loves America and its people, you've lived a sheltered life, and I want to congratulate you for escaping wherever you were being held and now are able to watch my videos on the internet. The fact is, some countries are dangerous for everyone, especially Americans. So much so, the Department of State, some people know it as the State Department, but it's actually the Department of State, updates a report every couple weeks called the Travel Advisory. This is a report that ranks the danger level a country might have for Americans if they travel there. It has colors like a danger mood ring and goes by levels. Level 1 being blue, exercise normal precaution, all the way up to red for do not travel here. In today's video, we're looking at the top 10 level 4s and find out why. Alright, so let's see what countries you should avoid, starting with Number 10, Syria. You should not go to Syria unless you're bulletproof. That is probably the best piece of advice anyone has ever given you. Syria has been in a civil war for about 9 years now. Now, here's the fun part. It's a multi-sided civil war, so there's like 3, 4, 5 different factions fighting each other. That's always fun. That could be a problem, because you never know who's shooting at you. Let's say you're cruising with a Syrian real estate agent looking for a nice, partially bombed out duplex, and shooting starts. You won't know who it is. The State Department offers this warning. No part of Syria is safe from violence. Kidnappings by armed groups, arbitrary arrests, the use of chemical warfare, shelling, and aerial bombardment pose a significant risk of death or serious injury.
We actually booked to go to Syria the week before the civil war started. Yeah, before it all kicked off. Yeah, and there was no advisory not to go at the time. It was a nice place to go.
Yeah.
And we said we'll go just for a long weekend. We were in the Middle East anyway, so we said we'll just go for a long weekend, go and see Damascus. Just there, and then we didn't go for whatever reason. And it kicked off the following week.
Yeah.
We were like, fucking hell.
Lucky escape there, mate.
Close call there.
My dad spent a lot of time there when he was driving trucks in the Middle East, and he said it's an absolutely beautiful country.
Yeah,
he really loved Syria.
Yeah.
It's such a shame to see what's happened to it.
It's been hideous, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite welcoming to Westerners at one point, wasn't it?
Construction of the infrastructure, housing, medical facilities, schools, and power and water utilities has also increased the hardships inside the countries. So here it is. Don't go to Syria. Number 9, Burkina Faso. The first thing I should explain is I didn't just make that up. Burkina
You're going to have gone everywhere. Right?
I've not been to Burkina Faso. I dealt with him at Ouagadougou. He's only one of 3 capital cities in the world begin with O.
Wow.
Is it really?
Ouagadougou.
Ouagadougou.
Didn't ABBA have a song about that?
And it's the other one is Oslo and Ottawa.
Huh?
Learn something new every day with me, you see.
Yeah.
Full of
Proper
fun
pub
facts.
quiz fact, that.
It used to be called Upper Volta, Burkina Faso.
Wow.
You're getting all the knowledge from here, geographical knowledge.
Yeah.
All for free.
So is a real country in Africa, and it is very unfriendly towards Westerners, especially Americans. It is a West African country between Mali and Ghana with about 20 million residents. About 98% of them would be considered living in poverty. There is no reason to move here unless you're a dirt road enthusiast, because they got a lot of them.
I thought he was a Minotaur for a minute there, that guy.
There's quite a few people from Burkina Faso in the USA.
Is there?
Yeah. Remember them 2 guys I was telling you about who were casting spells on each other outside my office?
Oh, yeah.
One of them was from Burkina Faso.
you feel like scratching this place off your bucket list, here's what the State Department says. Terrorist groups continue plotting attacks in Burkina Faso. Terrorists may conduct attacks anywhere with little or no warning. Are there terrorists out there like, pencil me in for next Thursday, I'm going to blow up your building? Is that going on? I think they always attack with little or no warning. Targets could include hotels, restaurants, police stations, custom offices, areas in or around or near mines, place of worship, military posts, and schools. In other words, these guys don't care. They'll blow you up. Kidnappings and hostage taking are a threat throughout the country. On May 10th, 2019, a hostage rescue operation freed 4 international hostages that had been kidnapped in Burkina Faso. The government of Burkina Faso has maintained a state of emergency for most of the country. I'm sure they say most because there's parts of this country that are so dry, camels don't even like to go to. Number 8, South Sudan. South Sudan is a landlocked country in East Central Africa with a population of about 12 million people. I did a video about the worst airports in the world, and South Sudan's airport was on that list. Among the many issues this place has, the airport's restroom is a tent with a trench. I'm not even kidding. Every month or so, they move the tent and the trench someplace else. There's no indoor plumbing at the airport, along with most other places. As a Sudanese man once told me, water is for drinking, not for pooping. So I guess that's their little motto there. Anyway, here's the State Department's take on South Sudan. Violent crimes such as carjacking, shootings, ambushes, assaults, robberies, and kidnappings are common throughout South Sudan. Female foreign nationals have been victims of all kinds of bad stuff. They listed it, but I can't tell you because I don't want to get demonetized, but you can imagine what that is. Armed robberies and other violent crimes happen all the time in the streets of South Sudan, when you could find streets. An armed conflict is ongoing, including fighting between various political and ethnic groups. Weapons are readily available to the population. In addition, cattle raids throughout the country often lead to violence. They steal each other's cows, apparently. News reporting in South Sudan without the proper documentation from the South Sudanese Media Authority is considered illegal, and any journalistic work there is very dangerous. Journalists often report being harassed in South Sudan, and many of them have been killed while covering conflicts.
It's funny they say that about the airport because we used to ship a lot of aviation fuel into Juba.
Is that in South Sudan?
Yeah, I think it's the capital.
Right, okay.
So we used to do all the aviation fuel for, I don't know what aircraft were landing there then. I never went, but it was...
Was there some sort of tax reasons for it going there, and maybe it was getting distributed to other places, or...
So yeah, there's no reason to go here. Number 7, Yemen. Yemen hasn't been a tourist hotspot since, well, pretty much forever. The place kind of blows. It is a country on the Arabian Peninsula that shares a border with Oman to the east, Saudi Arabia to the north, and the Gulf of Aden to the south. Since medieval times, this place has had conflicts. The Yemen Revolution followed other Arab Spring mass protests in early 2011. The uprising was initially against unemployment, economic conditions, and corruption, as well as against the government proposals to modify the constitution so that the guy in charge's son son could inherit the presidency. So, no more elections, you just give it to your son, which is kind of like a monarchy, and the people weren't going for it. In March of 2011, police snipers opened fire on a pro-democracy camp, killing more than 50 people. Good times in Yemen. Call your travel agent. Pay your life insurance first. Let's see what the State Department has to say about Yemen. Starts off pretty plainly. Do not travel to Yemen due to terrorism, civil unrest, health risks, kidnappings, armed conflict, and landmines. The U.S. Embassy in Sanaa, I think that's how you pronounce it, suspended its operations in February of 2015, and the U.S. government is unable to provide emergency services to U.S. citizens in Yemen. In other words, you're on your own, everyone. Terrorist groups continue to plot and conduct attacks in Yemen. Terrorists may attack with little or no warning. There it is again. Little or no warning. Why do they keep saying that? And they target public sites, transportation hubs, markets, shopping malls, and local government facilities. Additionally, there is a continuing threat of kidnapping, detention by terrorists, criminal elements, by non-government actors. Employees of Western organizations may be targeted for attack or kidnapping. Military conflict can cause significant destruction to the infrastructure, housing, medical facilities, schools, power, and water utilities. This limits availability to electricity, clean water, and medical care. Instability often hampers the ability of humanitarian organizations to deliver critically needed food, medicine, and water. There's also reports of landmines throughout Yemen. Cholera is present throughout Yemen as well. There's limited availability to medicine and medical supplies, and adequate medical treatment is unavailable if you get cholera. If you guys haven't picked up on it already, don't go to Yemen.
It's not got a lot going for it, has it?
It used to be in the region where I used to look after. And one of our country managers phoned me up and he said, you need to come to Yemen. He was part of who paid my salary, so they all clubbed together and paid the centralised salary. So he says, I said, where do I meet you? So he said, fly to Aden. He says, then I'll pick you up in Aden and we'll drive to Hodeida. So I said, how far is it to drive? And he said, it's 7 hours through the mountains. I went, fucking no way am I coming there. And this was before the war and all that. I said, you've got to be kidding. I said, he went, no, it's safe because you'll be with me. And I went, I'm a Westerner driving with you, going through the mountains of fucking Yemen, and you tell me to come over there. I said, I don't think so. But I heard Hodeida was really nice at one point. Obviously, they've got massive issues there now.
Yeah, well, it's a proxy war at the moment, isn't it?
Saudi Arabia just love fucking leather in it, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's all
but is there someone that's pro-Yemen?
It's the Houthi rebels, isn't it, and all that? And it's
so is it just Saudi Arabia versus Yemen? And Saudi Arabia's bolstered by the West.
Police it, aren't they, sort of thing? But it's
like a Team America World Police
for their own ends, probably, no doubt. So
yeah. But anyway, it's safe to say I never went. There's no way I was doing that trip.
It's a big drive, 7-hour drive through the mountains.
Yeah.
Even somewhere nice, 7-hour drive.
Well, yeah, it's nice, but without looking over your shoulder every 2 seconds.
Like we said, I've done that Houston to Louisiana sort of like drive, and that was 7 hours, 6-7 hours sort of thing, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, but you can get out of the car there and go to a cafe or something.
And get served.
Meantime, probably lay down in the back of a Honda Civic.
Wow.
Number 6, Venezuela. The US and Venezuela haven't been on the best of terms for some time now. Just last year, we unfriended them on Facebook. On March 11, 2019, the U.S. Department of State announced the withdrawal of all diplomatic personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Caracas. All services, routine and emergency, would be suspended until further notice. Now, here's the warning that the State Department gives about Venezuela. Violent crimes such as homicide, armed robbery, kidnapping, and carjacking are common in Venezuela. Political rallies and demonstrations occur often with little notice, sort of like those terrorists. Demonstrations typically elicit a strong police and security force response that includes the use of tear gas, pepper spray, water cannons, and rubber bullets against the participants, occasionally devolving into looting and vandalism. There's a shortage of food, electricity, water, medicine, and medical supplies throughout much of Venezuela. The US CDC issued a level 3 warning to avoid non-essential travel to Venezuela, and that was in 2018 due to inadequate health care and a breakdown of the medical infrastructure in Venezuela. Venezuela is in bad shape. They have been for some time, and it is getting worse. It's kind of been pushed to the back of the news channels lately because we've got other things going on, but those people are in bad shape. Don't go there. Don't be part of the problem. Number 5, Mali. Mali is a landlocked country in Africa that nobody knows much about. You probably know something about it, but what you know, you probably think isn't real, so you think you don't know anything about it. Have I confused you? Here you go. I'll explain. Mali is home to the ancient city of Timbuktu. Yes, it's real. Timbuktu is like the last city before you hit the Sahara Desert and run the risk of dying of dehydration or heat stroke. So bring sunblock and some Gatorade. And also bring some of that stuff for your lips, because when you're dying of heat stroke or dehydration, your lips are all cracked. It's just worse. It's just just the worst. Here's the State Department's official warning. Don't go there. Violent crimes such as kidnappings, armed robberies are common in Mali. Violent crime is more of a concern during the local holidays and seasonal events around Bamako. Bamako is the capital city. Roadblocks and random corrupt police checkpoints are commonplace throughout the country, especially at night. Terrorists and armed groups continue plotting kidnappings and attacks in Mali, like all terrorists do. They may attack with little or no warning, again, like all terrorists do, targeting nightclubs, hotels, restaurants, places of worship, anywhere Westerners are, due to risks to...
Some people are so determined to live in a shithole, aren't they? You know, like, I know it'll be like separate factions politically or separate tribes in a lot of places, but everyone works together. You can have a nice place where you can go to a restaurant and not get blown up. And
some of these countries are very rich in like reserves, like they've got oil or gold.
Yeah, but the people are poor.
And greed. Yeah. Well, the politicians are very wealthy, and they're the ones that rule, that no one else can get in their circle sort of thing, because otherwise they have to share the money.
Yeah.
And they don't like sharing.
And they're not democratic, a lot of them, are they? They're sort of like in power, and they make sure they stay there.
I'm sure there's a few countries in Africa. Liberia was one under Charles Taylor, people like that. Zimbabwe was another one under Robert Mugabe, and places like where they're just super rich and super wealthy. And they just, they look down on all the rest as like, and they take the wealth, and that's why they live like this, because they're fighting for their lives. It's poverty.
So I suppose a lot of the violence is people trying to better the situation as well as opportunists and
a lot of them
bandits.
No money about. They're desperate as well, aren't they? Like say, desperate, trying to keep alive and keep the families alive, keep them fed. It's just desperation a lot of the time, isn't it?
It's a shame to see, isn't it? It really is.
But of course. Quite a few people from like West Africa and stuff like that. So people like from Bamako and or Bamako. In Mali and Ouagadougou and places like that. And they're really nice people.
I bet they are. Yeah.
They've made it. They're the ones that have got out and sort of made it in America or made it in Europe or wherever they've been in the Middle East. They've got out and sort of done something, but they still go back. They still trade with that country, but they're the higher ups now, sort of thing. And they go back like kings.
I think the vast majority of people are decent everywhere in the world. It's just a proportion of scumbags.
It's just a handful of the rich and powerful, isn't it?
The greed that kicks in. We're finding that out now with Russia. Now the money's coming away from all them Russian oligarchs. The documentary the other day, how Roman Abramovich made his money. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a really good documentary.
Right.
Yeah, and on corruption and how he came about getting his money. And now you have a different sight on him. I quite liked him when he was at Chelsea, thinking, he's doing all this stuff. Now I see how he's got his money. I'm like, what an arse.
Yeah.
He's a greedy bastard.
He's very close to Putin, isn't he?
Very close. He's money man. Allegedly.
Don't
want them fuckers after me.
Just don't go to Salisbury, you'll be alright.
Civil aviation operations within the vicinity of Mali are restricted by the Federal Aviation Administration. You can't even fly into Mali. Number 4, Iraq. So, I shouldn't have to tell anyone this, but stay out of Iraq. It was actually safer when we were blowing this country up.
Again, somewhere my dad spent a lot of time when he was a truck driver, and he absolutely loved it. Like, you can tell when he talks about it, he's got a sparkle in his eye that he wants to go back to Iraq, and it's like,
not just at the moment, it might be a bit different now. It
wasn't safe when he was there, though. The amount of stories about him getting guns in his face and people trying to take his truck jack him. It was very sketchy, but I think it was in a very much like a Wild West sort of way that he was
in an organised type of way.
You had
an inkling it might happen, but as long as you had something to give him, you'd probably get away with it.
I think it was crime rather than religious ideology that he was up against when he was there, which, coming from a rough area, is kind of probably used to crime. It wasn't people just seeing him as like a white Western Christian and they want to kill him.
I didn't go Baghdad or anywhere like that, but I went to Erbil, which is in the northern side where borders like Turkey, and it's all Kurdistan now.
Right,
So it's kind of like, that was like their garden city, they used to say. It's beautiful when you're there.
Yeah.
And there was never any really trouble there as such, and they started getting more trouble as it went. Once Saddam Hussein had gone, it's not like the whole country sort of like spread, and then the Kurds started coming in.
It was always when Saddam was in power that my dad was there. And he said, although it was, he was a tyrant, he said it was relatively safe for people contributing to the economy, for Westerners, truck drivers. He said, you're part of a machine, so you're kind of safe to a degree.
Yeah.
But it's just in Kuwait. Just chaos now, isn't it?
Department's warning goes like this: do not travel to Iraq due to terrorism, kidnapping, and an armed conflict. U.S. citizens in Iraq are at high risk for violence and kidnapping. Numerous terrorist and insurgent groups are active in Iraq and often attack both Iraqi security forces and civilians. Anti-U.S. militias threaten U.S. citizens and Western companies throughout Iraq. Attacks by improvised explosive devices, IEDs, occur in many of the areas in the country, including Baghdad. On December 31st, 2019, the embassy suspended public services until further notice as a result of damage done by an Iranian-backed terrorist attack on the embassy compound. It goes on. U.S. citizens should not travel through Iraq to Syria to engage in the armed conflict there. You would face extreme personal risks such as kidnapping, injury, and death, and legal risks, arrest, fines, and expulsion. The Kurdish regional government stated that it would impose prison sentence of up to 10 years on individuals who illegally cross the border. Additionally, fighting on behalf of or supporting terrorist organizations is a crime that can result in penalties including prison time, large fines in the United States. So there's no reason to go to Iraq. Number 3, China. Okay, so everybody knows what's going on with that illness. Now, I can't say the actual name because I'll get demonetized. And
I'm sure he's going to go into lots of reasons here, but that's a bit of a curveball because I bet there's a lot of Americans travel to China every
I've
year.
been to China a few times.
I wouldn't have thought it'd be a country that you sort of wouldn't travel to for fear of like any danger there or anything in
I
particular.
mean, they're very strict in what you can and can't do. You know, you can't access like things like Facebook or Instagram or anything.
Yeah.
They've got their own shit called something like Weibo or something. I think it's called.
Yeah.
But he's like, I mean, I've been to Shanghai, Beijing, and Hong Kong. If you want to, go that way, but it's Hong Kong was like. It was under Chinese rule at the time.
Yeah,
Been to Taiwan as well. Depends on
but
Depends on which side of the fence you're on.
Yeah, you just behave yourself. You just follow.
Yeah.
Just don't do anything stupid.
Sort of control, but just toe the line sort of thing when you're there. Just be sensible. And
I just follow where all the other Westerners go, and that's probably the
Yeah.
wrong thing to do. When you're in places like you find these bars, restaurants, and these big strips, and where you go, and it's all the hotels. It's everyone you look at. It's all Western.
Yeah.
Until you get in a taxi, and none of them speak English. You have to just give business cards to where you're going.
Yeah.
So I think you sit in traffic for 4.5 days.
My bro went to Hong Kong and absolutely loved it, and then did cross over into China at one point as well. And he said it was very strict, took the phones off him, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like you say, you kind of toe the line. You're in someone else's country.
You
You've
behave
got
yourself wherever you go.
Yeah, of course.
You just don't be a dick, and you won't get arrested.
We may live a
Absolutely,
different way and sort of disagree with how they run the country, but if we're the ones that are in their country, you've just got to be respectful, haven't you?
But sometimes, even when you're towing the line, it might come across as wrong in their country. If they want you, then they think you're up to something, they'll still get you.
Oh, yeah.
I think in some of these countries that have been mentioned already, I think you
probably won't go.
Yeah, you won't go because just for doing nothing and towing the line, you'd still be in trouble, wouldn't you?
A lot of people ask me what took me to these countries, but we used to build up infrastructure. So it was like big project cargo and stuff like that. So I had to go and do like road surveys. Sometimes we didn't have offices there, so we have to go over and sort of support our officers who didn't have the expertise to do it. So we'd have to go into these sort of like remote areas and sort of like do like road surveys, map out surveys, site surveys. So we have to fly in, but we were always with a local 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So you kind of felt a little bit safe in what you were doing, and plus you stayed in. You weren't staying in like a 2-star hotel in the middle of Baghdad.
No,
You were in a secure sort of like compound where it was guarded and you had everything you needed. So in a lot of parts anyway.
Yeah.
But,
agree with this policy because if YouTube didn't, people would be sensationalizing it and using the name and probably flood YouTube with bad information. So we'll just call it the beer illness. The State Department's official statement is, do not travel to China due to the beer illness first being identified in China. On January 30th, the World Health Organization determined that the rapidly spreading outbreak constitutes a public health emergency of international concern. Travelers should be prepared for the possibility of...
So this is before the pandemic was in full swing, then I guess.
Sounds like
that's the
doesn't
logic
which
for
is-
it.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
It does now, yeah.
travel restrictions with little or no advance warning. Most commercial air carriers have reduced or suspended routes to and from China. So if you're there, you're kind of stuck in a lot of cases. Those currently in China should attempt to depart by commercial means. We strongly urge U.S. citizens remaining in China to stay home as much as possible and limit contact with others, including large gatherings. Consider stocking up on food and other supplies to limit movement outside the home in the event that the situation deteriorates further. The ability of the U.S. Embassy and Consulate to provide assistance to U.S. nationals within China may be limited. So it's a bad situation. And
when I went to Shanghai, Vladimir Putin was there at the same time. And we went to this restaurant, and it was quite high up in one of the... I can't remember what the name of the building was. Went in one of the buildings, and when we were all sat around the table, and I stood up and walked to the window. I might have told you the story before. I walked to the window, And all the security come over and went, whoa. And I went, just having a look out the window, I'm not going to jump or anything. They went, you're not allowed anywhere near the windows. And then we asked why. And they said Vladimir Putin's in one of the buildings over the road, in the distance.
Yeah.
And you weren't allowed to go near the windows in case you're
a sniper or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So it was no one near the windows.
Yeah.
So why is he such a paranoid guy then, Putin? What's going on? Like, is he pissing people off or something?
Oh, dear.
It has the potential of getting worse, or it has the potential of just going away. Really don't know just yet. We'll find out, right?
We did.
Number 2, Iran. If you haven't been watching the news since, 1970,
I will say, just before the pandemic, my mate Stacey was in Iran. She's her brother-in-law's Iranian, so went out for a holiday with the family and stuff. She loved it.
My mate lives there.
She had a great time.
It's fairly westernised, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of Iran.
Yeah.
My mate's been based there for probably about 6 years now.
Yeah.
Some beautiful
His
pictures
family
of
lives there,
beaches
but
and
he
things
lives
like that, yeah.
hates the United States. They hate everything we do, including women driving, women wearing what they want, dating, movies, and bowling, oddly enough. I know an interpreter who said that when he was a boy in the schools in Iran, that they would play these videos on how evil the U.S. was, like total propaganda stuff. He said for some reason, they always showed Americans bowling. And even at a young age, him and his friends always wanted to come to America just to bowl, and they could hardly wait. Anyway, tensions have always been high between the U.S. and Iran, and when we blew up their top general a couple months back, things got worse. Here's the State Department's warning. Do not travel to Iran due to the high risk of kidnapping and arbitrary arrests and detention of U.S. citizens. Those present in Iran should exercise increased caution due to an outbreak of the beer illness. U.S. citizens visiting or residing in Iran have been kidnapped, arrested, and detained on false charges. Iranian authorities continue to unjustly detain and imprison U.S. citizens, often dual national Iranian-American citizens, including students, journalists, business travelers, and academics, on charges of...
I suppose we have just had that woman released last week, haven't we?
Yeah, Nazanin Zaharie.
Yeah, and what did she do? 5 years or something?
6 years, I think, wasn't it?
6 years.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people I know who I work with who want to go to certain countries just to get the stamp in the passport.
Right, okay.
So they used to ask me, can I tag along with you? Do you need anyone to come with you? They're not to these places. I'm like, well, just so I can get the stamp in my passport.
And what's that do for
And
you?
I'm like, nothing. Just sort of like prove you've been there, or you sort of like, look, this is where I've been.
It's like playing bingo, isn't it?
It is. That's exactly what it's like. It's like collectors. You've got sort of thing. And it's, I know, especially we were going to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And we were going through everything. The amount of people that offered to come with us.
Really?
As like assistants, and I was like, something wrong with you? I don't even want to go.
That's strange.
Like, you going instead of me then?
Yeah.
And then in the end, our CEO phoned me up and he went, you ain't going. He went, it's not on.
Is it not?
It's not safe enough for you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so he obviously meant something to him.
Must
be like, get him to go first.
With a twinkle in his eye.
You can go to, what was it, Yemen or Burkina Faso, or it's one of them. You can go there, but
I think he even said about the Yemen thing, he went, I wouldn't do that trip if I were you. And I went, I ain't doing it. I can guarantee you that.
including espionage and posing a threat to the national security of Iran. Iranian authorities routinely delay consular access to detained U.S. citizens and consistently deny consular access to dual Iranian U.S. citizens. So, yeah, it's just a mess over there. They hate us and they do everything they can to make it difficult. And, right now, there's all kinds of accusations that they've been helping plan all these different attacks on us. So, yeah, stay out of Iran. And number 1, Haiti. In my life, I don't remember anything good coming out of Haiti. In recent years, the Haitian government...
Fugees.
So where they're from, Haiti?
I think lineage-wise, because they call themselves Haitian Sicilians.
Right.
Oh,
Did some of the
I
songs.
never knew that.
Yeah, I think, is it Praz was from Haiti, because I'm sure he had something to do with the relief fund, maybe embezzling something or something.
Yeah. What he was?
I think he did, yeah.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I remember that story.
Yeah. I don't know the full story, so I won't say much more than
No,
that. but
I wouldn't.
There was some sketchy behaviour. So yeah, there you go. The Fugees, or at least some of them.
Right.
seems to have completely lost control of the entire island. Besides the people being out of control, they've had serious earthquakes and hurricanes over the years that have just destroyed the island. Now here's the State Department's thing. Do not travel to Haiti due to crime, civil unrest, and kidnappings. Violent crimes such as armed robbery and carjacking are common in Haiti. Kidnapping is widespread. Kidnappers may use sophisticated planning or take advantage of unplanned opportunities. Victims include U.S. citizens. Demonstrations, tire burning, and road roadblocks are frequent and unpredictable and can turn violent. Local police may lack the resources to respond effectively to serious criminal incidents. Emergency response, including ambulance service, is limited or non-existent. Travelers are sometimes followed and violently attacked and robbed shortly after leaving the international airport. The U.S. Embassy requires its personnel to use official transportation to and from the airport. Robbers and carjackers have attacked private vehicles stuck in heavy traffic congestion and often target lone drivers, often women driving alone. Alright, so that's my video of places you don't need to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the list. Stay away from these places. If any of you had any plans of going into these places, just scratch them off your list. Save your life. Stay away from them. Don't forget all the links below.
Very good. Afghanistan and Mogadishu, Somalia wasn't on there.
Yeah.
There's a few. I mean, I was thinking like North Korea, but when you think about it, if you actually went to North Korea, you could probably, again, get along and do pretty much what you want as long as you stay within the rules.
I don't think you go to North Korea. I think it's under travel embargo.
I think you
No, but if you could get in there, though, just like the secret police would be watching you, make sure you behave yourself, but you wouldn't get like kidnappings and stuff because they probably wouldn't allow it, would they?
Well,
so it probably wouldn't be as dangerous.
What's his face used to go there, didn't he? Yeah,
Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
That was invite.
But he was a guest of the political rulers, wasn't he? So
right,
I think that'd be how.
There's many countries you have to go to where you have to get an invite to go into.
Yeah.
Kuwait being one of them.
Right, okay.
Don't know, there's few where you have to. I think Russia as well. You need to have a sponsor on an invite.
Right.
Wow.
Nowadays, it's probably different.
Yeah.
But,
Right, okay.
Before you have to have a visa to go in, and you have to have an invite from somebody.
Yeah. Right.
So he's just gone off the government at the time's list for like that period that he made the video. They were the top 10 level 4s, like you said at the beginning. So some of these other countries are probably on the list, but maybe just out of it.
Yeah.
Or it's an interesting one, that though.
Yeah, you could probably go into a top 50.
Oh, I bet you could. Yeah, I bet there's a lot more than that you won't want to go to.
Yeah.
Must be.
That other video there, 25 countries with the highest rate of atheism. I heard a stat this morning actually, which I don't know how verified it is. It was on a very popular podcast that I won't talk about because I always do, saying that Russia has a higher rate of atheism than America. There's actually more non-religious people now, because I always assumed Russia was quite a religious state.
I always thought America's very religious.
But I think in terms of how many people are practicing Christians, for example, there's per capita there's less in Russia than there is in America.
There's something there. A lot of places losing their religion, but I think that's just REM. Before you say it, I think it's just it's one of them things where the younger generation.
Not into it as much.
Well, you've been taught it as much as we were taught it. We were kind of like, it was pushed on us, our age.
Oh, yeah.
It's forced on us.
We were all CFE, so it was just part of the curriculum, wasn't it? You had to do RE as well, didn't you?
You used to sing the Lord's Prayer in school.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, of course you did.
Yeah, and then
whether you believed it or not.
Yeah, but then I remember getting like the Jehovah's Witnesses, there was a couple in my school, and they were actually asked to leave every assembly when we're going to do the Lord's Prayer. They got up and left and went in the classroom.
They did that. There were about 2 kids in the assembly, weren't they? They do that now.
Yeah, I'm on as well.
Interesting that though.
It was, very interesting.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Don't forget, like and subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.